Now, following the allegations of sexual assault on Harvey Weinstein, more and more women are now speaking out and pointing the finger at some very powerful people. The newest allegations are now against veteran journalist Mark Halperin. Color me surprised, man. I am actually super surprised about this. Now, according to CNN, 5 women shared their accounts with the news agency, and others aware also corroborated their stories. And according to them, Halperin had allegedly sexually harassed them while he was at ABC News. So that was over 10 years ago. Let's go through some of the stories here. According to CNN, the stories of harassment range in nature from propositioning employees for sex to kissing and grabbing one's breasts against her will. 3 of the women who spoke to CNN described Halperin as, quote, without consent, pressing an erection against their bodies while he was clothed. I'll give you more details of those accounts. Now, Halperin, of course, denies doing that. He says, oh, no, I never grabbed any boobs, and then I never pressed my, erection against these 3 women. That's not true. But look, what they describe is obviously super inappropriate behavior. You don't get to do that, right? So let's get into the details, right? Now, the first woman told CNN that back in the early 2000s, she was invited to visit Halperin's office. That's back when he was political director at ABC News. Now, he's like, okay, come upstairs, come to my office, and we'll have a soda. We'll have a soda. And he said that while she was, and she said that while she was there, he forcibly kissed her and then pressed his genitals against her body. She said, quote, I went up to have a soda and talk, and he just kissed me and grabbed my boobs. I just froze. I didn't know what to do. Well, obviously, that's a very difficult situation. A lot of people wouldn't know what to do. Now, when she did make her way out of his office, the woman told a friend at ABC News what had happened. That friend then told CNN that she remembered the woman telling her about the incident and seeing her visibly shaken. So that's the first one. The second woman is another former ABC News employee, described a similar experience in his office during the 2004 campaign cycle. The woman said that she was around 25 years old then and wanted to be a, quote, campaign off-air. ABC News is termed for one of the reporters who travel embedded with presidential campaigns. Now, the person who was in charge of that is Mark Halperin. So she's like, okay, I want this job, so I'm going to reach out to Mark and see what he says. Now, she told CNN, quote, the first meeting I ever had with him was in his office, and he just came up from behind. I was sitting in a chair from across his desk, and he came up behind me, and while clothed, he pressed his body on mine, his penis on my shoulder. Oof. I was obviously completely shocked, she said. I can't even remember how I got out of there, but I got out of there, and I was freaked out by that whole experience. Given I was so young and new, I wasn't sure if that was the sort of thing that was expected of you if you wanted something from a male figure in news. Damn. Now that quote right there is amazing, because it really kind of shows you like the power dynamic, right? Having the thought of, hey, am I supposed to let him do that? Like, I want this job. Is that part of what I have to do for the job? It's something that I don't think a lot of dudes think about. But I think it is something on the mind of a lot of women. Am I going to get the job or not? If I don't sleep with him, if I rebuff him, how does that hurt my career? This is unfortunately the reality of a lot of women in the workplace. A lot of women in not only acting, Hollywood, but in news, and I think in a lot of workplaces as well, in other industries. Now, unlike Roger Ailes, apparently he at least didn't try to make that part of the job. None of the women have said that he ever promised anything in exchange for sex or suggested that he would retaliate if he didn't get it. Now, he's still a creep, don't get me wrong, but he's still not quite on the creepiness level of Bill O'Reilly or Roger Ailes, who actually did go after women who, wouldn't sleep with him or them. And, of course, Ailes would say that, hey, man, if you don't sleep with me, you're both not going to get the job, and you're not going to get any job anywhere. and also Harvey Weinstein as well. Because he's like, hey, I'm a powerful person. If you want a job, I can get you a job, but you got to do this to me first. I mean, there was another actress that said, hey, man, where he said that, and let me see if I can remember it. We're going to go to a party, and I'm going to introduce you to the people that you're going to sleep with to get a job. But first, I have to test to see how good you are. That's Harvey Weinstein. So that's disgusting. So Weinstein, Ailes, O'Reilly are super disgusting. Halperin also disgusting, but not quite on that level. Now, the woman Halperin apparently supposedly didn't give up. The woman said that Halperin continued to express a sexual desire for her in subsequent visits, despite being rebuffed. She said, it was more like him coming up too close to me and sort of along the lines of hugging me, she explained. She also alleged that Halperin propositioned her for sex in the campaign trail. He would say, hey, why don't you meet me upstairs? She said, that's not a good idea, and he would push the request further. Eventually, I would just ignore him and go about my business. Now, that's the second woman. Here's the third. Now, this was also a former ABC News employee, so you can see a pattern emerging. Hey, I'm just going to go after the co-workers that work under me. Now, she said that she was on the road with Halperin when he propositioned her. She said, I excused myself to go to the bathroom, and he was standing there when I opened the door, propositioning me to go into the other bathroom to do something. We all know what that is. She said, it freaked me out. I came out of the living room, and he was just standing there, like almost blocking the door. A fourth woman who worked with Halperin and was junior to him told CNN that he once asked her late at night on the campaign trail to go up to his room with him, and she believed him to be propositioning her. She declined, and then there was a fifth who spoke to CNN, who was not an ABC News employee at the time, and said that she was not comfortable sharing specifics of her story for publication, but said that Halperin, while clothed, placed his erect penis against her body without her consent. So it's a pretty simple story, or pretty much the same story here. Mostly going after coworkers, doing the same kind of thing, propositioning. Every once in a while, he tries to press his dick up against you. So that's, at least in one case, actually doing sexual assault. Now, Halperin told CNN in the statement, quote, during this period, I did pursue relationships with women that I worked with, including some junior to me. I now understand from these accounts that my behavior was inappropriate and caused others pain. For that, I am deeply sorry, and I apologize. Well, look, he also says, under the circumstances, I'm going to take a step back from my day-to-day work while I properly deal with the situation. As I said, Halperin denies groping as well as pressing his penis into women's bodies without consent, which is sexual assault. So basically all he's doing is like, oh, I hit on the girl. I did some propositioning. Yeah, it wasn't exactly, I shouldn't have done that. I realize now that it was harming them. You didn't get it when they actually kept turning you down? Like, no, I'm not interested. Please stop. You didn't get that the first time. Ridiculous, right? No, it's sort of a non-apology apology. In my view, not good enough, not nearly good enough. Now, MSNBC, because he's a regular panelist on Morning Joe, MSNBC put out the statement saying, we find the story and allegations very, very troubling. Mark Halperin is leaving his role as a contributor until the questions around his past conduct are fully understood. Now, ABC News also chimed in and said Mark left ABC News over a decade ago and no complaints were filed during his tenure. However, the women speaking to CNN said that they did not report Halperin's behavior to management, either because they feared retribution because he was very powerful, or because they were embarrassed. In some cases, the fear of him and the sway he holds remain to this day. The woman in the first account, however, said that she told a mentor at ABC News who she wanted to escalate the issue to management, or who said he wanted to escalate the issue to management, but it is unclear if it ever occurred. I don't think so, or else ABC would have actually said something or had done something. My guess is, rug, oh, we're sweeping. So we're not going to do anything about it because Halperin is one of our greatest journalists. Got to protect him, right? Now, CNN's investigation found that Halperin allegedly exhibited this type of behavior from the 90s to the mid-2000s. However, CNN has not learned of any incidents after Halperin left ABC News. So here's the thing about that. So there are apparently no incidents after the mid-2000s, after he left ABC News. Now, maybe he cleaned up his act afterwards. Okay, great. Or maybe this is going to be another drip, drip, drip situation. I mean, it's happened before. It could be another Cosby situation, like once one comes out or two comes out, 5, here comes the rest. Or maybe he did, like I said, stop with 5 and said, hey, yeah, that's good enough. I don't know. But the bigger picture here is not so much in the numbers, is that here's another example of a powerful person taking advantage of that power to try and get what he wanted in return, and that, of course, was sex. It's the same old story. The difference here is that these women, and a lot of women across the world, have had enough. I mean, again, Cosby, Ailes, O'Reilly, Weinstein, now even George H.W. Bush has been accused of sexual harassment and assault. I mean, George H.W. Bush, I think it was earlier today, he's like, yeah, I did grow up an actress. Sorry about that. That was a while ago, but she didn't understand my humor. So it was one of those apology, non-apology kind of apologies. So, nonetheless, the lid is now off. Women are saying, okay, we've had enough. We're going to come out. We're actually going to, if you do that, or if you had done that to me, now's the time to come out and break the silence, because this has to stop. And the American people, like I said, we should have enough as well, and we should be behind these people that are just trying to hold people in power accountable, because the whole thing is about power. It's about people exerting their power over other people who are less powerful than they are, who can't retaliate. And it's about time that we start giving the power back to regular people so that they don't get abused in this kind of system. And so, yes, let's continue to hold people accountable. Let's do investigations. Let's find out the truth. And let's actually believe women when they say these things and empower them to come out and share their experiences. That's a good thing, and that will only lead to more people actually getting some sort of justice. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.